Mr. President, thank you very much for speaking to RT at this difficult time for your country, difficult period, which is what my first question is about. Your recent absence during the Tal volcano eruption, and people have been worried. There has been widespread concern about that absence and about your health. Are you still fit to be president?
You know, please do not believe media, especially the Rappler, that's the mouthpiece of the CIA and the US. I was there before they made the announcement that they did not go. I was there 2 days earlier. Then I went home to Davao to rest. When I came back last night, I went directly again to the evacuation areas. So do not believe that kind of garbage being dished out by Rappler, which is an American CIA-funded news agency, and which has been, well, they have not paid their taxes, and we are questioning them because media must be 100% owned by the country, Philippines. We found out there are a lot of, for one, it's owned by the Americans. And so it does violate the Constitution, which says that media or the press should be owned by 100% Filipinos.
Well, while you were there, when you went back to the volcano, you promised to pee on the volcano and to eat its ash. Is that part of a new government policy, perhaps? A war on volcanoes?
Well, that is one aspect of life which we cannot really fight, in the sense that when Mother Nature blows, it blows, and we'll just have to take the necessary steps to counter it, to meet the challenges of the ashfall and the devastation that it will create on the livelihood of peoples who lost their livelihood and their homes.
Well, as you say, you know, it's never easy. Every new day brings a new challenge.
Yes.
One of your latest challenges is that you got a taste of U.S. sanctions for the alleged mistreatment of an opposition politician. My question is, have you learned the lesson that Trump was trying to teach you?
It should be the U.S. who should learn the lesson from us, because they think that we are a backward country, that we are in inevitable times, that we are incapable of dispensing justice. We have survived. In 1946, we were declared a republic. And before that, we fought the Americans in their occupation. You see, the opposition and the communists got together to invent these issues about Secretary de Lima receiving money by way of campaign contributions from the drug lords in this country. And the Americans simply do not believe that a Secretary of Justice is incapable of receiving money to finance or to ensure the victory. And they wrote on the issue that it was a trump-up charges by the opposition, the yellow, the liberals, and by the communists. And so they started to believe in the lies of the opposite side. Now, we cannot do anything. Trump says that, not just Trump, but the United States says that one of the sanctions would be that they would not allow the entry of any official connected with the prosecution of Secretary de Lima. I countered that if you do that, then I will not allow the Americans to enter into the Philippines without a visa. They should get a visa from our embassies there. As of now, they come and enter as if they own the place. So I countered that if you do that, then you start to have to present as a visa before you enter the country.
One of the staples of your presidency has been a U-turn in foreign policy. You've been making a lot of other friends with, for example, with Russia, with China. My question is, what can Russia and China offer you, the Philippines, that America can't?
Nothing, except that you respect the sovereignty. Because America continues to look as a vassal state. Because when we were under the Americans for 50 years, and they live off the fat of the land before we got our independence. We went to war against them. So, if you do not, if I cannot get a credible posture from the Americans, I can get it from the Russian and the Chinese government. It's because they respect the sovereignty of the country, which America is totally lacking. It's not only the Philippines, but over the world, they do not respect sovereignty of government.
Well, in recent years, you've pointedly been shopping for example, Russian weapons.
Yes.
Most recently, the joint Indian-Russian cruise missile.
Yes.
But you never got your credit card out. You never did. The question is, why? What are you waiting for?
We had our priorities. I was buying for 12 cargo helicopters. And you know, we are not a rich country. However, we program the funds of government, how to budget it, there's always not enough to go around with. So I'm sure that we'll have to make the down payments and be prompt in our, just because Russia is a friend, doesn't follow that we do not, we abscond or we do not pay our debts. So it's still money, and we're really short of it actually. We're not that rich, but we have placed the orders now. 12 military helicopters, cargo choppers.
How far do you think trade and cooperation, friendship between Russia and the Philippines can realistically go? After all, there is 8,000 kilometers separating Moscow and Manila. What do you want from this relationship? Is it nuclear energy or mining or something else?
I'm sure Russia could come here and look for viable businesses that can help Russia, your country. And we do not consider the distance as a limit in our friendship, in our desire to be a partner of Russia and the rest of the Eastern countries in trade and commerce. We do not think that the distance is on the minus side. It's a plus side. And nothing can really be a hindrance if you really want to do it with another country.
Well, one country that's been getting very close to the Philippines is China. Physically,
Yes.
it has been getting very close because unlike, say, for example, Vietnam, which has been very vocal in its opposition to China's South China Sea claims, you and the Philippines, they haven't been as vocal in their opposition. Why is that?
Because, the other side really wants to do a more aggressive stance. And I cannot afford to do it. I cannot afford a stand where I would be drumming my war drums because we cannot afford it. It would annihilate the Philippines. And so that is a very dangerous. Spratly Island is near our islands,
Right.
our provincial islands. the local government of the Philippines is near them. And so it would be a reckless move if I send out, just like Vietnam, small vessels only to get a bloody nose at the end of the day. The response might not be that contained if I get to move because of the so many American ships here. They might just also want to take advantage and make a pretext that they are defending the Philippines, and it will flow out beyond our control. And I said, the war with China at this time is of no use to us. We might as well just be friendly, do some, improve our trade and commerce, and let time heal tomorrow will take care of itself. One thing for sure. And like any other historical claim, the world is always changing. And we did not really do it at the expense of the lives of Filipinos.
Well, speaking of changing times, you've been president now, you're into your fourth year. Honestly, how would you rate yourself? How would you rate what you have done? Because your war on drugs has divided the world.
Correct.
Your Duterte-nomics, as they call them, have divided economists. Will you be remembered as someone who solved problems or as someone who created problems?
Well, no need to remember me in the future. But let me say it here and now, that drugs can destroy, uncontrolled drugs in a country will destroy itself. And I've told everybody that if you destroy my country, like the Philippines with drugs, I will kill you. There's no quarrel about that. I will kill you. And about the economics is I'm veering towards so many. I'd like to open new fronts with Russia, with China. We have increase in trade and commerce. It's robust. And maybe if I could start trading with Russia, it would be good. It would be not fine. I mean, America is not the Philippines, and the Philippines is not America. It ain't that way anymore. And I refuse to dovetail their American foreign policy. They were always antagonizing the Chinese, and so did the Philippines. I just received an invitation to go to the United States together with the Asian leaders. I haven't been to the States. I was invited by Obama.
Will you go?
No. No.
Didn't you say you wanted to make friends?
Yeah, but one time when I was being criticized by Obama in a press conference, now he should have realized that I was also a head of sovereign state. But he should have criticized me in the proper venue. Should have brought the case to the United Nations rather than castigate a president of another country on a press con. So I got mad. But I would never do it to Trump because he's a very nice person. Actually, Trump is a nice person. It's just his style of doing things. But Trump does not. I do not believe that he really wants to go to war. Maybe he wants to teach some leaders also
How can the Philippines stay on the path that you set without you, without your passion and without your unique style?
Frankly, I cannot answer the question, and I cannot even who's going to succeed me. It would greatly depend on the people now, either in the opposition or with me in my administration, to really think hard about it. But if we are improving economically, if we have reduced crime to 47%, we have lowered the drug-related crimes here, it would mean a lot. I would gladly say that no country can progress without law and order. No country, no city. That is what is in my experience.
Lastly, if I may, why do you think people have allowed you to do and say what you have done and said? Why is it that, sometimes you've done things that they don't want and yet still they support you?
Well, because people are used to, human beings are animals of habit. When it's being done and done and done, repeatedly done, it's kind of it comes to them naturally and almost a second nature. But when they see things, when they see good things arising from a little discipline, if they say improvement of the things which are allowed but are prohibited, people should realize that it is in my generation, it is during my time that I should be doing things to protect, to make them easy. I fight the wars, and I want to end it now. And I want to end communism. I want to end drug problems, or at least reduce them to the barest minimum, so that the next generation will not have so many problems to solve. Tell me if it's wrong to be passionately defending your country against drugs, especially now that the drugs come in from the Bamboo trial, the Bamboo trial, and Senyelosa is also coming in with cocaine. There has never been there's always been a short of supply, but now there's an abundant, and it would only come from Mexico. And the triad countries there in somewhere in
China.
Well, it is not the policy of China. China also executes people. But we are not as rich as China. We don't have the most sophisticated gadgets. We cannot afford the high-priced drug, whatever it is, equipments that can tell you if drug is there or not.
At your age, what drives you? What motivates men that are older increasingly to go into politics at 70, at 80? Because politics, it's difficult. It's a fight. It takes a lot of energy. Every day it's a daily war. What motivates you to get up in the morning?
I have not realized that. I have not taken it into account. But I do my work just the same as early as when I first entered politics. In 1988, I was elected mayor of the city of Davao. Then for the succeeding years, I never lost an election until the presidency. So it started in 1988 as mayor, then as a congressman, then as a vice mayor to my daughter, to skip the prohibition of a successive fourth term it's only good for 3. Then I asked my daughter to run as mayor. I ran for vice mayor. Then resume my mayorship again. Until this, I never realized, I never counted the years that I was in politics. I was there just to work and work and work since 1988.
And aren't you getting tired?
Yes, a bit. I would say physically, there's always a diminution. In the many hours you can stay awake, and the number of days you're out in the field inspecting public works and visiting military camps and all, and going to the fronts, especially during the Marawi siege. I was there almost 10 times. I flew in there, stayed until midnight, and flew out. So those were the things that I said, maybe the stress added to the, when you say bone weary, when you are really weary of doing things. And I said, because aside from the fact that you have to stay late and you have to travel, and then there's the tremendous stress of lying where the bullets were whizzing around, and I got a hole in the helicopter, in one of the helicopters that I rode.
President, you've been, like always, very candid and straightforward.
Yeah.
One more time, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.